Well, hello everybody! Welcome back to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And it is June 26, 2020. Anyway, today, because I got my water yesterday, I replaced the filters in my filtration system. These are the old ones. And these filters come with a new button battery, a 2032 button battery, because the thing has a little computer inside of it that keeps track of when you change the filters. And in 6 months, a little yellow light will start flashing on that unit. And I have to take one screw out of the valve or the spigot, and then take a cap off, pull the little button piece out, reinsert it again, because it's not dead. The battery's still good. It's just that the timer inside of that little computer has marked 6 months from the time I put these things in. Well, I'm not going to waste money buying these things every 6 months, because I don't put that many gallons of water through them. I do use them daily, mostly for coffee, and then for making ice cubes, things like that. So just to save money, I go a year on these things. So at 6 months, when it starts flashing, pull the battery out, put it back in, it resets for another 6 months. Then the next time it starts flashing, which is around this time of year, I put a new set of filters in, change the battery to a fresh battery, and go from there. Even though the battery is probably still good, just don't want to risk it not going off and reminding me to change the filters when I'm supposed to. All right, so what's next in line? Well, here's my UPS package, and have my knife ready here to open this. Hold on, I'm just gonna rest my hand down here. All right, so let's see what's inside here. Yeah, it's my Harbor Freight coupon book. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. So here's my my new head, and there's a switch head. Comes all with all new stainless screws and washers, and new O-ring gaskets, and even an instruction pamphlet. All right, so I will change that first chance I get, and then put the pump back on the shelf inside the plumbing container, so it's ready to go when or if I ever have a problem with the pump I have here. All right, so that's a good thing that came in today. Next, we're gonna head out here because I had to go into town today, and the reason I had to go into town today is because I got a phone call. And a phone call from who? Well, Harbor Freight. That's an 8-foot long box right there, and it's probably a good 28-30 inches tall, and I'd say 16 inches wide. And let's see, date, initials, notes. Well, this is a retail pre-sale call log. So I had to go up, and they checked me out, and then 2 guys helped me get it out here and load it in the van. And the guy says, I hope you got somebody to help you get that thing out of there, because this thing is heavy. It probably weighs 300 pounds. I says, well, I'll get it out of there by myself. And he goes, oh yeah, right. Well, he doesn't know me. I work smart, not hard. So I'm not going to try to pull this whole box out myself. I'm going to cut the tape right here, open the box up, and I'll take this out in sections, because they're inside. It's going to be wrapped into different sections. So you're going to have your part A's, part B's, part C's, screw bag 1, screw bag 2, all that stuff. So I'll take it out in sections. What I want to basically get out first out of there is the base metal, which is not aluminum, it's steel, and it's a heavy duty base metal. And I can assemble that and then lay it on the ground, and that'll tell me exactly where I've got to start leveling out, how much I've got to dig out from underneath it, and all of that will be determined with that orange 6-foot level that's up there on the top, just laying in one of the channels. And then once that's done, then I can start assembling everything up. Now, I had the question of what I was going to do to anchor this thing because of the high winds out here. Well, I've been giving that some thought, and I'm going to go to Home Depot. I've got 2 lists of materials. One is for cinder block, so that I can do a cinder block foundation just like I did for the cabin, where I use all bond beam cinder block, 6/8/16, and then I lay rebar into the bond beam top section of it and fill them all with concrete. Then I've got a solid foundation. I'm thinking about doing that for the garden house. Well, I'm going to price first whether that's going to be cheaper to go that way, or if it's going to be cheaper to get 12 by 12 pavers and put them on the inside. And I'll use a bag of mortar, and I will grout between the two, so I can between the 12 by 12 pavers, and get those fit tightly inside. And then on the 4 corners of the outside of the unit, I'll take metal concrete stakes like I used to anchor the garden house, I mean the outhouse over here, not the garden house, although things grow in there. They sell these metal concrete form stakes, and they're you can get them in 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, all the way up to 4 foot, I think. So these are 3-foot stakes, and I drove them into the ground, and then I put a nail through they have pre-drilled holes in them. I put a nail through right into the house. So in the high winds, I think you remember one of my old videos, I was sitting in there one time, and a gust of wind at about 45 miles an hour hit the back of this thing, and it lifted off the ground about a foot, and I thought it was going to go all the way over with me inside it. So I ended up putting these metal stakes on the 4 corners and fasten them. I've never had a problem with that thing moving again. And I can pull those out when I have to move the outhouse, and move the outhouse and put them back in again. So I'm thinking about getting some of those, probably 4-foot long ones, 4 of them. And once I get the garden house in place and the walls up and everything, then I'll drive one of those at each 4 corners like I did on my outhouse here. But before I drive them in, I will pre-drill a couple of the holes out on each one of the metal stakes, so that I can actually put a 1/4-20 stainless nut and bolt through there, right through the corner posts of the greenhouse. And I think that'll hold it in place. And we'll see what I can do about that. Looks like I'm going to have to get out some lead poisoning, because I just saw, when I was first stalking over here, I saw 2 ground squirrels right over there underneath my new tote. And I bet you there's the start of them trying to dig holes to get into my garden house. They can't get in because the floor is all wired, but don't like them being around here. And the reason that I'm seeing a lot more ground squirrels around here right now, I haven't seen any all year up until like just recently. Well, I've been getting up every day finding dog prints all through here. So those buttheads down there are letting their dogs run loose in the desert all night long again. And they're coming over here, and I'm finding pee marks on my tires of my van, and dog poop was right down there by the garden house. Well, you remember I used to have a couple of Mojave burrowing owls that had a home right over there, just probably 150 feet from the outhouse. And I would see them every morning while I was sitting in the outhouse reading. And I could hear them all night long making their calls and things like that. And I would see them flying around here. And I didn't see any mice or squirrels or anything like that in the area at all. Well, I think those dogs either scared off or killed those poor owls. And now I don't have rodent abatement going on. So I'm a little upset about that. And I think those idiots down the road are going to have another visit from me with a little talking about their dogs. I'm a dog lover. I love dogs. But I don't like assholes, and excuse me for the word, but I don't like assholes who let dogs run around in the desert all night long and try to fend for themselves and find food for themselves. Because that's just basically mistreating the dogs. And the reason they're coming over here is because every now and then I have a coyote feeder over here. Every now and then when I have a steak or something like that, I put the steak bone out there for the coyotes because they help keep down the rodent population. Well, every day those things have been cleared out, but it's dog prints over there, not coyote prints. Big dog prints, probably half the size of my hand. So I know that there's dogs coming around and I'm not liking it. They're going to have another talk. I had a talk with them when they first got here about that, and they stopped it because the dogs were trying to attack my chickens, but the electric fence was fending them off. And I heard them yelping, and I got up and I saw the dogs out here by the chicken coop. So, yep, another project ahead is go down there and tell the buttheads, keep your freaking dogs tied up on your own property. All right, that's my rant for today. Well, that's about all I have. I just wanted to catch you up to date on what's going on. I've got the greenhouse ready to go. Looks like I'll be putting the new tote back on the trailer and picking up water from my neighbors, and I'm going to barter with them. They need some little items fabricated for their cabin up the road, so I would do that, and they'll fill up my water tote, and I'll bring that down and transfer it into the totes here for the irrigation water so I can keep my garden going without using any water from my tank up topside. And I still have these two totes here that are still full. That's 550 gallons there. That'll get transferred down here just before the rainy season. And speaking of rainy season, I looked at the radar, and yes, they are getting rain over there, and they're getting rain out that way, and they're getting some rain in the mountains down that way. So apparently there's some monsoonal stuff going through here because the humidity is ridiculous. I'm glad I spent most of the day driving in an air-conditioned van, because just standing out here doing this video, and I'm getting a little sticky. So I've got water. I think I'll go take a nice shower. G-Bear reminding you, give me a thumbs up down there. Don't forget to subscribe. Love y'all. G-Bear signing off.